Hello, we're back with Mercy and the Manz, and we're in the comfort of our own home. Yay, not on the road. It's going to be short and sweet. I promise. I hope.
You
This
can
is
see
episode 27.
you see my eyeballs in this one.
Yeah, we can look at the camera and everything.
I'm having my coffee, so
But I am
it's a
going to look at
coffee
you.
episode.
Coffee episode. I have tea. Anyway, wanted to do a recap of, and kind of what I thought this show could be about, or this episode could be about, is what makes a tribute band successful? What makes a good tribute band? Because last time we talked, we were going to see the band Jump, a tribute to Van Halen. They're from the Midwest. God, I can't remember exactly where. I linked them in the last show, and they were great. We saw them at Thunder Valley Casino. I've been following them for years. They've traveled all over the world. They've toured Australia, and we walked away from that show just so hyped. And I thought, with all the tribute bands that have been coming out in the last couple of years, and there's so many now, and we've seen so many live and in person, and obviously we traveled 4 hours, which shouldn't have been 4 hours, but with traffic it took 4 hours. Like, why we would go see a band like that, and there's bands around here that we won't go see. uh, no shade, everybody has their path and their place, but yeah, talk about the show. You give your take.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Van Halen fan, so I have high standards. And again, no shade to any of the Van Halen tributes around here, but it's a hard band to emulate because it's a band, it's a true band. And it's a quartet, and each of the musicians and singers in the original Van Halen, but also this will apply to Jump too, but have like their own like vibe and personality and specific musical skill that makes that band like what it is, makes it work. And so, and like you start with Eddie Van Halen is not only like one of the best guitar players that's ever been alive, he's also wholly unique in the way that he played guitar. Like everybody knows like the tapping and that whole thing, and that's true, right? That was like a signature thing of his. But his rhythm playing and his part writing were also super high level, and that's almost harder. Like I feel like it would be easier for me to go find. I feel like I would have no trouble finding a bunch of dudes who could do the tapping stuff. But finding somebody who could do the tapping stuff and then play all of the like rhythm and riff stuff and make it feel right, because Van Halen, that band swung a lot. And so you start there. You need a guitar player that can pull that off and that wants to do that kind of thing, that wants to be in a Van Halen tribute.
Right.
Then, so Jump was only doing the David Lee Roth Van Halen stuff, which I understand and appreciate, especially because the singer looks like and sounds like David Lee Roth. He's actually a better singer than David Lee Roth. And especially because David Lee Roth never really sang much live. It still doesn't. But, he had all the outfits. Like, he had the look, like the hair, the like, I don't know what you call it, like double tone or tritone or whatever, like whistle scream type stuff that David Lee Roth does. Like, he had all that stuff. Great frontman too, which you have to be. The bass player and now I'm putting the two bands together, but like it's true for both bands. But like in original Van Halen, Michael Anthony, the bass player, like he sang all the super high harmonies and really like held stuff down. And he's also kind of like a wild man. Like he kind of matched David Lee Roth's kind of like wild man energy. And then Alex Van Halen, the drummer, I think is one of the most underrated drummers of all time, simply because he's in Van Halen and overshadowed by all these other guys. But the way that band swings, like that's Alex Van Halen, like his drumming, like he's an incredible drummer. So to find 4 people like in town who can do those things and want to do those things and are then going to put the time and energy into like making it good is a really like steep hill to climb. Plus, and I'd be really interested to know like who does what and how it came together. But all of the like production elements that they brought in. Now, granted, they were at Thunder Valley Casino, so there's a huge screen. There's pyro. Like there's things that they can use that are there, but you have to have that stuff. Like you either have to bring a show in that will run that stuff, or you have to like be able to interface with the crew at Thunder Valley to like go through the show to figure out when that stuff would happen. And so, it's not fair to like totally fair to compare that to somebody playing a local bar, but at the same time,
no, because you from me following them too, I know that not all their shows are like that. What I've seen on social media.
No, they play a lot of like more mid-size venues, but they bring their like, it's not fire pyro, but it's like water vapor pyro or whatever, and they'll bring that stuff into those clubs.
Right.
So they're either like requesting the clubs have it or they're bringing it in themselves.
Yeah. But the attention, so what I'm hearing and everything is the attention to detail, like the attention to detail, and not like it is all in balls to the wall, like no shame of like what it is that they're doing. They are a tribute. And it was like, he's doing the whole thing. Like there was stuff that you were telling me like, oh, like he came out and did the whole like samurai sword bit.
Yeah, he did.
He does the big toe touches,
double jump kicks and all that,
and the kicks and everything. But they know who they are and what they're doing, and there wasn't any of this like sheepish thing or like oh here I'm doing this. Like it was all in. And so that was one thing that really set it apart for me. They all were dressed the part. They all were doing their part, and they were completely bought in.
Yeah.
There wasn't one person. The drummer cracked me up. They said he just turned 21. He looked like he was 12.
Yeah.
He looked like he was 12 and just looked like he was having the time of his life. Just smiling the entire time and just genuinely looked, like they were having a great time. They also do a really good job of bringing the crowd in along for the ride. They come off very approachable, and the times that he spoke was very good and well placed in how he was happy to be there, and that he's so happy he gets to play dress up and be this person for the day, and how you connected with the crowd and took a selfie with the crowd and everything like that. It was so fun. One of the things I think too is like their show was very thought out, and like you were saying about the production, if you're a tribute act, and I feel at the very least you have to have a 90-minute set of material. Like you have to have a 90-minute set show, start to finish, that, and what all the parts are. Like even when they had the solos, and there'd be the bass solo. For me, as being a singer front person, those parts were a little hard for me, but I appreciated it. And you were like, well, that's how it is. That's what happens. But for me, I'm kind of like, okay, first minute of the solo was pretty good, but it would be like an 8-minute solo each time. And I was like, good Lord.
But to be fair, I do think that the singer and probably, the guitar player took a long solo too. But I do think that the singer needed those breaks. I mean, he
did changes.
He did costume changes, and it's just like that's a hard gig for a singer if you're going to really do it. If you're really going to do it like right.
Yeah, he made costume changes. He also, I'm sure, like they would leave the stage. Even the drummer left the stage and stuff like that. And I just thought it was really well thought out. Maybe they've even, I guess we could probably even go through and see if they copy a live show from start to finish. That might be a thing too. I don't think enough people do that. For one, the beef that I have with a lot of the tribute acts that are coming up are anybody can slap a band together. Like, you have to be thoughtful about who's in the band and who is playing their part and doing it well, and to the style of who it is that you're paying tribute to. So there's that. The costuming for sure. Like, they have authentic. I know that he shows how he goes in and gets fittings and gets his costumes, and they're designed for him, for his body. He's not just buying something off the rack and hoping it fits, or buying the costume version. It is made for him.
It's not Halloween costumes.
Yeah, it's not Halloween costumes. But also it is Van Halen. Don't call yourself a tribute act if you're doing more than one artist. I don't think you can call yourself a tribute act. I'm sorry, come for me in the comments. But if you're doing a tribute act, it has to be one artist or band. I think once you start adding other bands, you could be like, you're a variety band at that point.
You're a review.
Yes, I think that's what it would be better if. I think I wouldn't have as much an issue with that if you bill yourself as a review.
Well, I mean, you have. I guess I think you see that more with people that are like trying to jump on tributes for like new artists who don't have much of a discography. Like,
well, I've been seeing that lately in like people doing tributes to Dua Lipa. There is plenty of material for a 90-minute show.
If you're doing a Dua Lipa tribute, then you have no excuse.
Yeah, like even Sabrina Carpenter at this point. But like but you can also just do a 60-minute show.
Yeah, but what I think the problem is those people, they just want to play the hits.
Right.
So, you're like, well, we'll do Dua Lipa, but we're only going to do like the 10 songs that we think everybody knows. We're going to do Sabrina Carpenter, but we're only going to do the 6 songs that we think everybody knows. It's like, well, then it doesn't really like garner a tribute, especially because you could just, well, if you got $1 million, you could go see Dua Lipa. You could see Sabrina. They are touring. Like, tributes to me are like, if an artist isn't like necessarily touring all the time, like, I think there's more space for it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That maybe that's for later in the discussion, but like
there's just I thought that was just like a good starting point. One of our other favorite tribute bands, or one of mine, that I just took Kyle to see that he's never seen before, and we saw them 2 years ago, was Super Diamond. And if you're here in the Bay Area, you know very well who Super Diamond is. I feel like everybody knows who Super Diamond is. It's a Neil Diamond tribute. Even Neil Diamond has given his seal of approval on it and has spoken about them. They were on Letterman and stuff like that, I believe. Yeah. Like, legit, Randy is Neil Diamond in that show, and they do like, it is. I was amazed that you'd never seen them. I mean, I'm not, and I was really happy to be the one that introduced him to Super Diamond. But the musicianship, the attention to detail, the charisma, the bringing the crowd in, having little moments, of where you could see like there's thought put into what is being said throughout the set, and just such a good show.
He's been very clever. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming Randy put it together, but it could have been with input from other people. So I don't want to shortchange anybody. But what I was impressed with when I saw Super Diamond was the way that he did weave other songs and non-Neil Diamond songs into the show by using them as like little transition pieces, or by weaving them into part of another song and then coming back. It wasn't like, okay, now we're going to do all of this other artist songs or all this other song that's not Neil Diamond. It would be like these little stings and these little like hints at things inside of another song. I thought that was a really clever way to bring some of that stuff in without sort of tainting the actual, like, pureness of it being a Neil Diamond tribute show.
But who knows? Maybe that was even something that was taken out of what Neil Diamond has done in live performances.
Who
There's
could
a
say?
movie that has come out about somebody that was a tribute artist to Neil Diamond. I can't remember the name of it. It's with Hugh Jackman and Goldie. I was gonna say Goldie Hawn.
Huh.
What's her name? Kate Hudson, who's also been coming out with her own material and stuff like that. But so no, tribute artists or bands are not new. They've been around for decades. I think it's only been until recently though where they stopped being called, like, I think before they'd be called impersonators. Although a lot of times when I was younger and performing, impersonators solely lip sync. They just happened to look like them and they would lip sync. But now a lot of these tribute acts are coming out, and I mean, and they're booking tours, they're booking theaters, they're booking like big things now. I mean, to a point where even I feel like a lot of the summer concert series around here, which usually are the dance variety bands, are getting passed over for tribute acts. Not totally mad at it. There was a part of me that has been wrestling with feeling, I really think Mercy and the Heartbeats, that's our dance variety band, if you're new here, could definitely be a band that's in a theater. I think we put on that type of show. We would definitely make more of a production if we knew we were going into a theater. And it hasn't happened for us the way I thought it would. And maybe that's naive on my part. And I'm kind of like, do we got to make a tribute act so we can get into some of these venues? I don't know. Maybe it's something that we have to think about. Just because I'm always chasing bigger venues. And I don't know. I think sometimes people think that on the venue side that you're going to be able to sell more tickets if people are coming in to see that, because you're coming in specifically to see that artist, or it's an artist that people really like, as opposed to a dance variety band. But Jump was great. There's other tribute acts in the area that we really, really like. A bunch of our friends have started tribute bands. What are some of your favorites? Do you have any favorites?
Yeah. I mean, I think Petty Theft does a really good job. We saw Fleetwood Macrame like a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago.
And I was really impressed with them. You know,
they do shows sometimes with Super Diamond.
Yeah, our friend Bray has a great Duran Duran tribute. It's like, I don't want to leave people out,
Right.
But I'm, you know, but all the
we won't totally call out the ones that we don't think are doing a good job.
Well, all the band, the thing that all the bands in town that are all the tribute bands in town that are doing it well are all have all. It's all filled with high level musicians. They get the vibe and the sort of look of the band right. They have crafted a little bit of a show, and you can tell that they actually genuinely love the material and are genuinely like invested in putting their best foot forward with the material. You know, I think like a lot of times what we run into in the variety band side, the dance band side, is that like you got a lot of people that do it just because it's there to be done. We've talked about this a lot, and it's like, all right, but there's a difference between being like, all right, I'm going to go play covers because that's what people, that's how I get on stage, or that's what people will pay for, or whatever, and being like, I want to be a really great dance band, and I'm going to like put the time and effort into like, you know, especially with us with the variety stuff, we're covering so many decade genres, artists are jumping around, so you have to try to embody a lot of that different stuff through the night while still being true to like who you actually are as a performer and musician. But you know, it flips a little bit if you're going to say like, all right, just going back to Jump or any of these bands like Fleetwood Mac. It's like, okay, Fleetwood Mac especially, like the thing with Fleetwood Macrame that I really liked, they're still doing it, is Fleetwood Mac, again, like Van Halen, is distinct personalities and distinct roles in the band. You know, there's 3 singers in that band. So you need, if you're going to be a Fleetwood Mac tribute, you need 3 singers. I don't want to see any Fleetwood Mac tributes. We're a Fleetwood Mac tribute and one person singing all night, or even 2 people. Like, no, there's Christine McVie, there's Stevie Nicks, and there's Lindsey Buckingham. Okay? So you need one person for each of those roles. Like that's
Right.
how the band is. And Fleetwood Macrame, like they have 3 distinct singers for each of those roles. In fact, it's eerie how much the Stevie Nicks role in that band, like she sounds like and embodies like what Stevie Nicks does. And it was like
Yeah.
almost to the point where I'm like, is this almost too far? But it's like it doesn't come across as like
inauthentic.
yeah.
I'm so glad you've been using the word embody, because I think that's the thing. I don't think a lot of the artists are merely singing the songs, or some of the people in the area. They're singing the songs. They're doing the material. They're doing the bits. They're doing even some of the dance moves. But I don't feel they fully embody. And I think that's a perfect way to explain it. You really, it's more than just loving the material. Like if you're like, I'm such a, like if I said I'm such a Huey Lewis fan, I'm going to do a Huey Lewis tribute. Like I do not, obviously can't sound anything close to Huey Lewis, and I can't embody him the way I could. Like I used to do Selena tribute shows way back in the day before there were tribute bands. I used to have a Selena tribute. Little bit of history. I was even signed to one of Selena's first record labels, Freddie Records out of Corpus Christi. And I had a tribute band that would do Selena shows. It's a lot through the Bay Area, but all over California, Arizona, New Mexico. I would get flown out to do all these shows and these big shows and big festivals and fairs and everything like that. And all we did was Selena, and we would be the headlining show at a lot of these places. And I was doing the Selena thing, but like I studied her live shows. I like the band had to play the hits. We had live versions of things. I had the dance moves. I would say the things she was. I wouldn't try to make myself look like her. That was the line for me of like, I'm already a Latina woman who knows like just as much about being that half in, half out, like not being fully bilingual at first. But I didn't feel like I needed to pad my butt or do the really, really heavy, she had these gorgeous, huge lips. I didn't have that going for me. But like, I would kind of dress like her to a certain extent. When she died, I was asked to headline. It was one of the last Cinco de Mayo shows we had here in the Bay Area in San Jose. And it was crazy pants. Like people came, it was like, there was no getting in and out of San Jose that day. It was crazy. But so to say again that this isn't a new concept, and it's just that it's venues are just taking note of it more, I feel now, and it's kind of more legit now. But again, like Kyle was saying, like you were saying in the variety band world, that people are starting bands because, well, I sing, I can sing, I want to sing, so I'm going to start a band. Good. But that kind of clutters up what people are doing professionally and have honed and really put the time and the branding and the money behind and everything. I feel the same has kind of been a little bit creeping into the tribute world because, well, I like Linda Ronstadt. I like Sheryl Crow, or I like Tom Petty, but do you really embody them? Do you really embody the artist? Have you put the people in your band that really also fill it out and embody the other members of the band or the backing musicians that this person had? There's so much more to it, and there is an attention to detail, and you can tell, you can definitely see who's really put the thought behind it or who just was able to get people to buy in to play in the band. And it shows.
Yeah. Well,
but that wasn't the case in Jump.
Well, it's going to be a bit of a gold rush now too, because the tribute thing is all of a sudden a hot ticket. You aren't going to have a lot of people putting together bands that they don't really have any business putting together. But the flip side of that is, and we were just talking about this I was talking about this with somebody like maybe last weekend. The actual artists or the actual estates of artists that have passed or whatever are going to like start giving their seal of approval to certain bands,
I think
and they're
so.
probably going to start bringing them into their to their business. Like right now, like Foreigner, and this is the conversation we were having, like there's bands like Foreigner and Leonard Skinner that have no original members in them at this point. So, but they go out and they tour under the Foreigner name, under Leonard Skinner name, and get booked into venues based on that.
So what you're saying is they're already a tribute band.
They aren't, but that's what I'm saying though, is like, where's the line? And this is the conversation I was having. Because I was arguing if you have a band and there is no original members in it, then it is a tribute. Yeah. Now it may be a tribute with like high paid LA session musicians or, and that level of crew and all, like, then that's fine. Like, it's not really even a criticism. It's just, if you want me to pay like $80 to go see Foreigner. And I mean, the person that's singing for Foreigner right now is incredible. And there's the clips I've seen, unbelievable singer, but it's not Lou Gramm.
Right.
And even once Lou Gramm stepped back for a variety of reasons, it was like, okay, well, there's just still like a couple members, and there's not now. So it's like, and Skinner, long before Foreigner, like Skinner, it was like, these guys kept, I mean, there was a million people in Skinner over the years, but like, now it's like, okay, I mean, you go see Leonard Skinner, but and I guess you can make the stretch that the singer was like the Ronnie Van Zant's cousin or brother or something like that. So he at least has the right last name, but like, it's not, so it's less about me like begrudging them going out and working. I'm just saying that is what this is going to start to look like, I think, for a lot of artists probably, who see a way to like continue to make money on their brand and name, either after they're done touring or even in conjunction with that. Maybe they're doing festival dates or maybe they're whatever, but they're like, oh, okay, well, I want X amount percentage of whatever this band makes, and I'll give them our seal of approval.
Yeah.
And like, and the flip side, I think some bands and brands are going to maybe go the opposite way and try to come down legally on some tributes. I know I'd heard through the grapevine that some friends of ours have an Eagles tribute, and I heard through the grapevine that the Eagles were threatening legal action or something like that because they were.
That is so on par for those.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're a litigious bunch, right? But it's like, which I think is ridiculous, because it's like, honestly, how much money do you need? How much money do you guys need? Like, our buddies are out here just like playing the Bay Area circuit, playing your music. Right. They're making like door ticket sales or whatever. Right. Cool it, But like, but that's the flip side to this is like, are some of these artists going to go like, okay, well, I'm going to sort of like knight, these few acts, and then I'm going to like cease and desist all these other people to try to clear the space for these groups or bands to, have a little bit more market share or whatever.
Maybe that just makes you have to be that much more on your toes and do a good job, because how could they possibly tell you to?
Yeah, well, I don't. It depends on if they have taste or not.
But like, well, I want to know who your favorite tribute bands are, or what artists you don't feel have been tributed yet, who you want to see as a tribute act. I know there's some even venues in the area, like Retro Junkie and Walnut Creek. They solely book tribute acts now. Like, that's all they do. Well, I have a little beef. That's not totally true. There's sometimes I see bands in there and they do the whole like tribute to the 90s, and I'm like, but you hear something that they play, because again, there's not very much that I miss. I know also, what everybody's doing.
What is a tribute to the 90s? Like
it just means that their whole thing is 90s.
I know, but it's not a tribute to the 90s.
Right.
You're a 90s band. That's fine, but you're a 90s variety band.
Right.
Our friends in Tainted Love, they're a top shelf, world-class 80s band. they're an 80s variety band.
Yeah.
They play all kinds of different stuff from the 80s. That's a variety band. It's just a variety band with a certain branding or a certain hook. You know, we are like, and what that means too is like, maybe this is a good thing to point out. Like when we're pitching to clients and stuff, and just when we're talking and when I'm describing our band to people, even just people like, oh, so what's your band like? And I say, we're a dance band. We're a dance band. And what that means to me, and the reason I say we're a dance band is because we pretty much, unless we're playing a wedding and they want a slower song or whatever, we pretty much only play songs that are danceable. And that runs the gamut. It could be Let's Dance. Well, that's really kind of on the nose, but like Let's Dance by David Bowie, Everywhere by Fleetwood Mac, all the way to like Dua Lipa and Sabrina Carpenter and all this stuff. But it's like a band like Tainted Love being an 80s variety band. You know, they'll do I Want to Know What Love Is by Foreigner, which is a ballad. Yeah. And they'll, you know, have moments in their show where the show stops and they bring, you know, Trey comes out from the drums and has a little snare drum up front, and they'll do like Blister in the Sun, like acoustic, or, you know, Jason Muscat will do Time After Time with Brett, but he's playing the whole thing on bass. Like, you know, they have these moments where they can, and us, like,
well, the only reason you don't let us do ballads.
Yeah, but what I mean, doing like you're hired to play an event if they want a dance floor packed, and you're gonna stop in the middle and do I Want to Know What Love Is. You're gonna clear the floor. That's not.
This is where our beef comes in, because yes, but also some of those clients do request slow songs, and you'll go like, I'm not putting those in. And I'm like, if they requested it, and but if they come rarely up to the stage and they're like, we were really hoping to hear Tennessee Whiskey, I mean, that's pretty much the only ballad you're going to get. If Kyle's doing the set, that's the only one he's going to give you.
It's rare. Most people don't want ballads.
So Kyle does on those moments. He's like, I know what's best for you. I know better. And he's not going to put a ballad. And when I've given up that fight, I like ballads. I think there's a place for it, a time and a place. And maybe I'm just going to have to fight a little bit harder in the future, because I don't think a ballad hurt anybody ever. I don't know why how they hurt you so bad.
I just like a packed dance floor.
But okay, the other thing I wanted to talk about is we had a conflict this week, and we haven't totally I'm blindsiding him because I'm the one that runs the podcast. So talking about work-life balance, we still haven't even really cleared it. But just to give a little insight, and we're not going to get into like the weeds with our business and our personal life, but we have a gig that canceled this month, and we've had some weird cancellations recently. That doesn't happen like often at all, but this year there's already been 2 or 3.
Yeah, and we're not the only band either. I've heard, so.
It's been really weird. People have been walking away from their deposits. We always ask for a 50% deposit upon signing of the contract. These cancellations have made me feel like we should be asking for the full balance like 90 days out, because it sucks that we're only making half the money that we'd be making on a Saturday. Again, like I said in previous episode, this is what we do. This is our livelihood. This is how we pay our rent. That sucks when we have that money accounted for, and then all of a sudden it's gone. We always try to be accommodating, and if there's any way we can reschedule, we always try to do that. There is a party that we were supposed to do in April that got rained out that we just don't seem to be able to make work, because we already are super booked. Although unfortunately we could have given them the 20th, I guess, of this month, because we didn't know that was going to be a cancellation. But then what happens is we have one wedding that canceled and went away. They just said it's not happening. I don't know. Maybe something happened at the bachelor party, or they downgraded.
They're not down. They didn't downgrade because the planner told me that they're walking away from all their deposits. And to be fair, because I asked, the only person that's collecting full balance on that event is the planner, because they are working through the date to tie off all the loose ends. But and the only other vendor that was collecting an additional payment was Hair, because Hair, they took a 25% deposit, and then they were owed another 25%, which got them to 50.
Right.
But everybody else had their whatever their deposit was, and their, which is, I mean,
so I don't know what happened.
Still a lot of money to walk away from.
Also, if it is that there was a breakup or something like that, or there were cold feet, also got to give you props. That is not easy to do, but I think that if in the best interest of everybody, like that's a brave thing. So I don't want to also make light and go like, what are you doing? You put all this money out. Don't get married and go through with the wedding just because you have money out. Like, do what you got to do and what's best for you. So I'm just got to say that disclaimer.
Yeah.
But all that to say is that Kyle then gets really hell bent on having to make up that money. Like now we have to make up. And there's a possible gig. We're still in talks. There isn't anything confirmed yet, but there's a possible gig that came up on a Sunday. I'm having a hard time with it because I'd be missing another softball day of our kiddo. And this is where it gets hard to be a married couple working together, being in partnership, and having different conflicting, negotiables or conflicting points of view, I guess. Kyle is like, we need to keep the lights on. We need to work. We need to make up that money. I'm like, it's a blessing. It's fine. We don't have to have everything. I get to go to my kids' softball game and be mom and not miss anything. Don't make me work on a day. But also, the biggest thing was Kyle was okay with, he thinks because we got paid half our rate that we could work for less because we technically are having free money from the 20th. My way of thinking is I'm going to be pissed as hell that I'm missing my kids' softball game. I'm not doing it for half the money. So I will only do it if it's still the same rate, no matter if we're getting the free money before. All that to say is that I said, if you pitch it, which I'm not going to be happy either way. I will admit that, even if it's the full rate, but I will be willing to do it. And we pitched it at the full rate because you said, well, what should I do it? And he got mad at me because he thought I was being unreasonable. And I said, you pitch it at the same rate. We're doing a wedding. We're doing the same job. Why should I take a pay cut? I don't need the gig that bad. You pitched it at the full rate. And they want to talk to us today, and they haven't balked at it. So are we good?
I guess. I like to work. I'm going to put dates on the calendar.
I like to work too, but I also like to be there for my kids' things. And if I'm going to work, I want to make my full rate. I do not give a 50% job because I'm getting paid 50%. And
it wasn't going to be. It wasn't going to be 50%.
No, it does.
I don't book gigs for 50%.
No, it does. It does depend. Like, not all gigs are high paying gigs, and I won't phone it in for a lesser paying gig. But what I'm saying is, why should I accommodate a couple that's getting married when I haven't accommodated anybody else and priced us at a cheaper rate?
It's not accommodating the couple. It's trying to get a date on the calendar for the band to work to make up the money that the band all lost. It's not just us.
But this is
we have also 6 other people that count on us to put work on the calendar.
It's true. But a lot of times you assume for the other band members, and there's sometimes when we do make the decisions, it is our band. Nobody else makes decisions the way that we do, and they don't have a say per se, but we do occasionally send out an SOS and just get the temperature. There have been gigs where we're kind of like, oh, we're not gonna put our hat in the ring because it's not our rate, and then we think, well, maybe that's being presumptuous. That's the word I'm looking for. So we do ask the band, and if everybody's on board, we'll do it. And then there's sometimes that the band doesn't mind having it off. I think that we sometimes forget that some of the other people do have other jobs, that it's not make or breaking them, that they wouldn't mind to have a Saturday off every now and then. We certainly haven't minded, and it really has only been this year that it's come up because of the fact that our kiddo has now started softball, and it's making me panicky because I want to be at everything. It's not because I just don't want to work. It's not that I just want a day off and want to go on a vacation. I did, however, tell him, you could book the gig and just book another singer. Say that your singer's not available. So I'll call somebody. Someone would love to work on a Sunday and work with my band. And so, just be upfront and transparent and everything. So he didn't like that one either.
Nope.
Alrighty. Well, then the other thing I wanted to talk about, going back, funny enough that Dua Lipa got brought up. We don't want it to be all about debriefing. We did have a gig last weekend. That darn it, if it wasn't supposed to be 2-hour set, got condensed to barely 90 minutes because people take off. Like, I think it was one of the parents left the room and they were supposed to do their dance, their special dance. And then it keeps pushing out and it's a hard stop. And we're kind of like, what are we supposed to do with this? And we only ended up doing a 90-minute show. And we're always so disappointed when that happens because we feel like we shorted them, even though it's not our fault. We got to have Will on drums. He was visiting and was on that gig with us. It was kind of like the OGs were back in the house. However, we had Bill, but I consider Bill an OG at
He's
this point.
He's a member of the family, literally in some cases.
Bill is Will's dad. That he was playing on keys. So we had pretty easy go of it. We didn't have a green room. We did have Will's van though, which was a pretty cool hang. But that one we made it work, but I'm not stoked about not having green rooms. And we didn't really find that out until we got there. And I felt a little put off by that. But lovely. It was easy. But again, I don't want to get into every episode being about debriefing our gigs because that'll be boring unless something like really funny and hilarious happens. But going back to Dua Lipa again, she just released her live album. I got to take Roxy to see her in October. 10 out of 10. Loved it. I love that it's an artist that we all like, and we were on a drive last weekend. And so the three of us listened to the live album together and we all had such a great time, and it's so good. So it's available. You can listen to that. I think she's such an underrated singer and performer. She sings live. She was singing live. You could tell she was singing live. You can tell she's singing live on this record. I don't know why she's not talked about more.
It's because she doesn't do the American Idol licks, like I feel very strongly that American Idol and The Voice and, America's Got Talent, X Factor, or whatever, like really did a disservice to music in general, popular music, because I feel like it reframed. It used to be, when we had a real music industry and radio and MTV and all this stuff, you had a wide variety of like real bands that, came out of some small town or whatever, and they got their sound. And you got some artists that are interesting looking and sounding and then unique over here. And then you have like the virtuosos. You got like Whitney and Mariah and like, Christina. Well, that specific, there's some men like that too. It was like Michael Bolton.
We love Michael Bolton.
We
love Michael Bolton in this household.
Was the problem with like the 90s and early 2000s, like there wasn't really virtuosic male singers because they were all in boy bands. It's like
People Bryson?
People Bryson is not a 90s singer.
He just passed away.
He was an 80s singer and he was on soundtracks. Great singer, but he's not Whitney Houston. He's not Mariah Carey. I mean,
was Luther Vandross already gone in the 90s?
I mean, he was more of an 80s guy, I think. I mean, he was not gone in the 90s, but like, I'm saying,
Brian
like,
McKnight, Babyface,
not a virtuosic
Michael
singer.
Jackson.
Yeah.
I have beef.
I mean, Michael Jackson, virtuosic
Michael
singer,
Bolton.
but
Definitely in the 90s.
well, and whatever. You can toss all those people in whatever pot you want. It's the virtuosic pot. They're over here. And it was just a variety. And I feel like those shows reframed what people consider to be like good singing, or what people consider to be like, yeah, notable. And I just don't, that's not how I view music. Like a lot of the singers that I love aren't virtuosic. They just have a unique sound, or they're great writers, or whatever. And there's a place for the virtuosic thing. I like that too. But like now that's how everybody views singing through that lens. And so somebody like Dua Lipa, who's just singing on hit after hit after hit, collaborating with huge producers and DJs, but like all of her licks and whatever she's doing are all within the melody of the song. And I just feel like people just go like, oh, I really like her songs.
Yeah.
And don't go like, oh, what an amazing singer. When to me, that's the epitome of amazing singing, which is like restraint, and like letting a little bit out here and there, so people know you can, or whatever, or so you can express yourself. But I don't think, that's why I think she doesn't get talked about that way versus somebody like, again, like I don't know, Kelly
Ariana
Clark.
Grande.
Yeah, Grande, Kelly Clarkson,
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
But Sabrina Carpenter isn't a virtuosic singer either, but she's just made this brand, and she's been a slow burn. That girl has been a slow burn for like a decade.
Well, Chappell Roan too.
But but like, I love Dua Lipa's voice. I love her voice. It's just so soulful and thick and rich, and it's subtle. And you're right. I don't think enough people do that anymore. I mean, it's one of my biggest beefs all the time. It's like, why do you have to sing like you're screaming and at the top of your range? And like, I just don't understand why everybody has to do that. Why do we have to do the octave thing? Every song you start out here and then you're singing the octave in the, above in the chorus, and it drives me insane. But I love her voice. Her show was so good. I think they also released her show on YouTube. Roxy and I are gonna sit in and watch it this week. Even though we went to the show, it was so good. It was like one of the best shows, I feel, to take. I mean, it was all ages. So many of our friends were there, but like, to take my then 10-year-old to see it, or I guess she was already 11, to take my 11-year-old to see her first concert. That was like the first perfect concert to take her to. And then right next to us were like a couple in their 60s on a date. And it was just so good. It was so perfect. So you got to check that out. And I implore you to find the artists that don't all, like the new one too in country music, Ella Langley, who did, she's from Texas, I can tell. So good.
He's choosing Texas, I can tell.
Yeah, that.
You can tell we haven't learned that song yet.
Not yet, but I want to add that to Electric Rodeo. Just sings in her zone, and it's so good. It's like, why does everybody have to feel like they have to belt and be the next Whitney?
Yeah, but I mean, even within country, like now you have these singers that are screaming the whole time, basically, and it's not very pleasant to listen to.
Nope.
And that's part of it for me, is like somebody like Whitney Houston. I could listen to sing the phone book. She could sing any lick she wants because she's got an incredible voice, and it's just pleasing to the ear. But like other people that are just pushing their range all the time, or this thing in country music especially is like this like chainsaw. Everybody, like Stapleton broke, and Stapleton is a virtuosic singer. Chris Stapleton is one of the best singers walking planet Earth, flat out, God-given talent. But then once he broke, then all of a sudden it was like, oh, well, now we need a bunch of other guys that sing this way. And it's like, do we? Why do we need that? It's like, there's like Luke Combs. There's some Luke Combs songs I like, but like listening to Luke Combs sing a ballad is like, what are we doing here?
No.
You know, and then there's just more and more. There's like Morgan Wallen thing, which really he ties more to like Florida Georgia line, but like that like thing at the top of the voice is just always there. It's like, oh my god, and just heavily processed as well. Yeah. I know that he was on American Idol or one of those shows. It's like, okay, yeah, you know, but like it's just not a pleasing sound for me. They move tickets, so clearly some people like him. Although I really think Morgan Wallen's fame is due more to people choosing him as a political figurehead.
I agree. All right, we're gonna do a quick card pull from the Soundtrack Stories card deck, and then we're gonna go see our kiddo leave 5th grade behind. I'm gonna cry. Pick something out of that messy pile.
No. What's your go-to song for boosting your mood?
Go-to song for boosting my mood.
I don't know if I have one go-to song. Like, it could be, it's more a collection of songs to give me a certain feeling. Like, there's songs like, you know, which I think our friends in Neon Velvet are going to play this for me. I don't know if they're doing it for me, but they do know I like it. Because we're both playing the Walnut Creek Art and Wine Festival this Sunday, and we're the first band. They're the last band. There's only one other band. They're in between us. Good luck to you. But like a song like Dance Hall Days is just like, it's up, and it's like kind of positive and groovy, and it's just like it got a high tempo, you know, like a song like Honky Tonk Women, like Stones, or Can You Hear Me Now? Like there's certain Stones songs that'll get me in a certain mood, or like more of the kind of upbeat, kind of like Tom Petty, like I can go all these different directions, but I don't know. I'll think, if you got an answer, I'll try to think of one specific song.
I've got an answer. Higher Love, Jaque Wilson.
Oh, that's a good one.
Your love is lifting me higher. I mean, and then the background singers come in. There's hornless. He keeps on lifting me. That one I think is just like, it's just, you can't help but get up and snap and dance and clap and everything. That definitely is like top for sure.
That's a good one. Yeah. I'm just blanking on a specific song. It's like, I feel like I could pick a specific song from so many different artists. Boo. That's a terrible answer on my part.
You had some good ones. You had some good ones. All right. So that's it for us on this episode. This is episode 27. Want to hear again. I got questions. What's your favorite tribute band? Who do you think needs a tribute band or show? What artists have you not seen being honored in that way? And what is a song that you like? What was it that uplifts your spirits?
Yeah.
That's your go-to, like you need to run around the house in your underwear and sing at the top of your lungs, kind of like
I will say this,
old time rock and roll style.
I'll say this. I want a new drug. You brought up Huey Lewis earlier. I want a new drug. It will always.
I think anything Huey Lewis for you.
I will never skip that song. And from the opening little guitar pickup riff, that's probably, if I had to pick a specific song.
Yeah.
That one just, and again, because same thing with Dance Hall Days. It's similar groove. It's sort of programmed, but also sort of not programmed, and it's sort of swung, but somewhere between straight and swung. And it's similar tempos, actually, funny enough.
That's funny.
And a horn, and both have horn lines. So maybe that's the but yeah,
Horns
I want a new drug. I want a new drug into Dance Hall Days, or the other way around. Anyway.
But the other day, Huey Lewis came on and we were listening to Harder Rock and Roll. No, we wasn't Harder Rock and Roll. It was Harder Rock and Roll. And we were singing along, and it was so funny to me. It was like we were doing an answer and call, and we even know the solos by heart, and we were singing the sax solo.
Yeah.
And we were harmonizing in here and everything. And I thought that was a cool, fun moment. But
yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Peace. Deuces.
You said that you found me, but you know that it was I found